Hi everyone, Rebecca and I have both enjoyed answering your questions in 2024, and here are our top 5 picks of questions of the year. So coming in at number 5 is, how do I know if the reader of my letter and the patient have an existing relationship? So official OET case notes will always make it clear if there is an existing relationship between the reader and the patient. If you're working with a set of case notes and it's not clear to you, it's likely that you're working with unofficial case notes, and we wouldn't recommend studying with them. So when candidates are trying to make a judgment about the existing relationship, what they often look for is words within the job role of the reader, words like community, local, or family, to help them decide. But official notes will always have further evidence within the notes to help you make that judgment. So let me give you a couple of examples. If you're working with a set of medicine case notes and the task is to write to the patient's regular doctor, so regular in the job role will help you understand the relationship, but also within the notes, so within the notes and the task, you'll have the purpose for writing, which is to inform the doctor of some treatment that the patient has had recently. So putting both of those together, that is the job role of the patient and the further evidence from within the task and the notes, you can decide that there is an existing relationship. If you're an allied health professional, you could be asked to write to the patient's doctor and to write to them about your recommendations based on an assessment that you've just made. So again, putting both of those pieces together, the job role as well as the further evidence that you found within the task and the notes, you can decide that there is an existing relationship. So don't just look for vague words, look for further evidence within the notes.
And at number 4 is, what are some tips for speaking? So the speaking test is really what sets OET apart from other high-stakes English tests, because it directly replicates the kind of communication that you will do with your patients or relatives of patients on a daily basis in a healthcare workplace. So our top tip, whichever of the OET professions that you are, is that you try and imagine that you are having a conversation with a real patient rather than being in a test, because this will help you to relax, feel more comfortable, and find that communication that you're so familiar with. The way that OET speaking is assessed is based on how well you communicate with the patient, the interlocutor. So it's important that you balance how much you speak with also how much you listen to your patient, and include what the patient is telling you in your responses, as well as in any negotiated treatment plan that you talk about together. We also recommend that you make the best use of the preparation time available to you. In the 3 minutes before each role play starts, you should try and put yourself in the patient's shoes to think about how they might be feeling and what the best way to start the conversation will be. It's also a good idea to think about how you're going to split your time between the tasks on the card, remembering that you don't have to complete all of the tasks to get a high score in speaking, but that you do need to demonstrate you can manage your time efficiently.
And coming in at number 3 is, can I underline important words in listening and reading? The answer is you absolutely can, but how this works depends on the test mode that you've chosen to take. So if you've chosen to take a paper-based test, you can underline, mark, or circle words in listening and reading, but you need to be careful that any underlining that you do doesn't make it difficult for the computer or the assessor to understand what your final answer is. If you've opted to take a computer-based test, you can use the highlight function. And we have a lot of tutorials on our website to help you understand how the highlight function works. And we recommend watching those as well as taking a computer-based sample on our website to help you understand how it works, so you can try it out for yourself.
And at number 2, how do I know where I'm making mistakes in reading? Of course, it's completely natural for candidates who don't get the results that they want on test day to want to understand where they made those mistakes. Like other high-stakes tests, OET isn't able to provide you with such granular feedback in your results. However, this is something that you can build into your preparation for test day by analysing your answers to any sample test that you've taken to look for reasons behind the mistakes that you've made. Typical mistakes candidates make in reading come from misreading or misunderstanding the question, not having a broad enough vocabulary range to be able to understand words in the text or answer options, and running out of time to answer all of the questions in the time available for the reading test. If you're able to work with a teacher, this is somewhere they can be particularly helpful, because they can ask you objective questions about why you came up with those answers in the sample test, and provide you with personalised tips and strategies to work on any weak areas that you identify. Once you have identified any themes or patterns behind the mistakes that you're making in sample tests, these then become your personal checklist of what to focus on and check for in the next sample test that you take and on test day. You may find a useful resource to be our Reading Week playlist, which is available from our YouTube channel at Official OET. The 5 sessions in this playlist cover how to build a daily reading habit, which skills you need to work on to be in with a good chance of getting the score that you want on test day, and in the 3 sessions on each part of the reading test, we cover common reasons for mistakes that candidates make, many of which are completely avoidable.
So coming in at number 1 is the question, do articles, grammar and spelling matter in part A? When you think about the test mirrors real life, and accurate record keeping is crucial in real life. And so that you should think about spelling the same way while you're preparing. There is some flexibility for spelling words that are not commonly known to healthcare professionals and to patients. But for words that are commonly known to both groups, the expectation is that you spell these words accurately. So some examples are words like cholesterol, diabetes, protein. All of these words are commonly known, and words like this should be spelled accurately. When it comes to grammar, the same applies. And one area that we find candidates often make mistakes in is the area of plurals, that is word endings. And again, this is where you could lose marks unnecessarily, and paying attention to this whilst you're preparing is important. With articles, it's a little bit different. They're optional, and the reason for this is because in listening part A, you're completing a set of notes that a healthcare professional has made. And notes often focus on just important words that contain key information, and those words are usually nouns and adjectives. So articles are optional. If you look at any of the answer keys on our in our official tests, you'll find that any optional words are indicated in brackets, and articles are always indicated in brackets.
Something else that candidates asked us a lot in 2024 is where they can find resources to prepare and practice with. And the best place to start, of course, is the ready pages of the OET website, which you can see linked to on the screen now. As well as these resources, we do have additional resources to purchase through the OET store, but Shekinah is going to tell you about a couple of must-download resources that we really recommend and that are available to you completely for free right now.
So our study guide is, of course, our top recommendation. And one of the things that candidates asked us for this year was extra reading and listening resources. The study guide has links to great videos, tips, blogs that will help you prepare. But there's a dedicated section on resources where you can find links to real-life reading and listening materials that will help improve your skills. Our graded sample booklets are our second recommendation, and they have 30 authentic speaking and writing responses from real OET candidates like you. Both of them provide valuable insights into what success looks like, what a grade B looks like, because they come with complete grades and expert assessor feedback.
Thank you to everyone who participated in a live Q&A session during 2024. It's been our pleasure to answer your questions and to help you as you prepare for your test day.
Happy New Year and see you in 2025.